What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Yeah, that's what's up. Alright, this story's called, She Came to My Workplace and Threw a Temper Tantrum After I Wouldn't Help Her Find Batteries at the Store. Here's some context for you. I work at a pizza place as a part-time employee. I'm what they call the dough roller. Strangely erotic. That job has me making the pizza dough for the entire day early in the morning, prepping the store, cleaning it from last night, nothing special. Here's the kicker here. I'm always alone during these shifts, and I get there usually at around 6 or 7 a.m. and leave at around 1 or 2 p.m. Not bad shifts, but man, it's exhausting. So exhausting to the point where I would frequently nap after I got home, which I live about half an hour away from, and would get ready for the next shift. Occasionally, I'll get the random person that's up that early and wanders towards the store and asks if we're open. What pizza place opens at 6 a.m.? Here's another note to take in. The front of the store is mainly windows, with some booths in front, so people peer in to see if I'll come talk to them or see what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll get someone in a bad mood and they'll yell at me and ask why we're not open. I mainly ignore them, except for this time. Let me rewind this story to the day before this event. I went to the store after work to pick up some random foodstuffs I needed for a dinner I was gonna make. Note, this was after work, so I'm still in my khaki pants, white pizza place shirt covered in flour, and my hat with the place's logo on the front. The place I went to doesn't have a uniform, but anyone with common sense would be able to tell that I am not a produce worker. Anyone except this lady, who I'll call Karen. Karen, I guess, looks over at me, looking and comparing limes, and stomps on over. Hello! She basically yelled this. She didn't sound mad, but she sounded overly happy, like pretending she's happy almost. I reply with, hello? I'm thinking at this point that maybe it's one of my mom's friends that I don't remember that's known me since I was little, so I just smiled and waited for her to continue. She was friendly, so I wasn't gonna be mean or anything. Little did I know. Can you help me find batteries? I've been here looking for some and haven't found any. I give her a nod and look down the aisle. I almost immediately saw the sign that said electronics, batteries, stuff like that. I point to the sign and say, they're down there. It's aisle 9. She grunts and stomps her foot. Aren't you gonna take me there? This is where I get a bit flustered. Why would I do that? Her eyes widened and she screamed, "Excuse me? That's extremely unprofessional!" At this point, I mentally sigh and think, great. Now my shopping is gonna take longer. She's looking at me like I had just taken her groceries for myself. How is it unprofessional? I helped you know where they are. What more do you want? This is where Karen decided to reach into her purse and grab her phone. She then started to record me. You see this, people? This idiot won't even help me. Is this what America has come to? I look around, confused as to what I even said wrong. Everyone was just staring at us, looking rather uncomfortable. I then look at her. Look, say what you want, but I want to finish my shopping. I tried to walk away, but Karen used her cart to stop me. I was literally cornered at this point, trapped next to lemons and limes. No, you're not leaving until I speak to your manager. I will not take such disrespect from an idiot like you. I'm getting pissed off at this point. She's acting like I tried to assault her, and her words were getting higher in pitch, so I spoke up. Hey, stop yelling at me. I'm just trying to get my crap and leave. So get your cart out of my way and go bother someone else. I pushed her cart out of the way and she screamed, "Assault! Assault! Did you see that? He hit me!" I didn't bother saying anything else and started heading out the store. She kept yelling after me, saying stuff like, "Stop! You need to stop! I'm gonna call the police!" When she said that, I turned around and said, "Shut up! I don't even work here! So I can yell at you if I want to! Stop following me!" At this point, Karen gasps and stomps her foot. It looks like she wanted to say more, but I just kept walking. I paid for my stuff and got the hell out. The next day, which is today, I'm doing a normal 7 to 2 shift. Easy day, barely have anything to do other than cleaning. Good day so far. Time flies when you have nothing to do for whatever reason, and it's almost time for me to take some tables and chairs for outside dining out to the front. It was about 9:30 a.m. at this point, so we weren't open yet still. Guess who I see trying to see if we're open? It's good old Karen. She saw me taking the chairs out and immediately starts yelling at me again for the same reason as yesterday.
You're the one that assaulted me yesterday. How dare you? I'll have your job for this. Come here and we'll speak to your manager right now.
No, she looked bewildered.
Excuse me?
I repeated myself. No, go away. She stomped towards me.
Come with me to the store and get your manager. You aren't getting away with this.
I don't know why this lady just didn't understand what I said yesterday, but it annoyed me. Look, I don't work at the store. I work here, at the place I'm putting tables and chairs out for. I've never worked at that grocery store, and I never will work there. Leave me alone. It looked like at this point she got the hint because she just stomped off. Okay, that was weird, I thought to myself. Got everything done at a decent time, and my manager came in at opening to help me with kitchen work until I got off shift. Guess who came back to complain? If you guessed Karen, you get a gold star. My manager greeted her as I was making food with the usual.
Hello, welcome to Pizza Place. How can I help you?
She started off with a bang straight on.
Your employee assaulted me on shift yesterday, and I want him fired.
My manager looked back at me with confusion. Note that I was with him yesterday doing a morning shift. Plus, there are cameras in this pizza place, and he checks them daily. He would have seen that assault and said something if there was one. He then looked back and said,
I see. Where did this happen?
Karen gets flustered.
It was at the grocery store where he was stocking food up in the produce section. Why does it matter? Just fire him. He assaulted me.
He looks back at me, to Karen, then back at me.
You have 2 jobs or something?
I just shake my head and the manager looks over to her.
Yeah, I can say for sure that he didn't do that. First of all, he doesn't work there. He works here for me. Not only that, but he has never even so much as attempted to talk back at anyone for any reason. I trust my employees enough to know that your accusations are false and that you need to leave.
Karen stomps both her feet as if trying to break the floor and yells,
How dare you? I can stay here and shop if I want to.
My manager sighs and goes over to her across the counter. He ushers her to leave and she is not having it. She's resisting as much as she can, still yelling at us that I assaulted her. We ended up putting her on a do not serve list after all of this. I don't even think she even got her batteries in the end. Oh well. Edit. My manager didn't see all 12 hours of footage, just when there were customers, which we don't typically have a lot. COVID-19 hit us hard. Karen couldn't get her batteries, so she accused him of battery. This story's called, No, the middle school child with the colored hair doesn't work here. So this happened a while ago. I work at a certain clothing store that is pretty well known as the big chain goth store. Our store is pretty small and can be easily run by 1 or 2 employees the whole day. When this happened, my coworker was on his lunch break, so I was running a one-man show, which was fine by me because we were pretty slow. Due to a certain ongoing international health crisis, my company is enforcing a mask requirement for every customer and employee that enters the store, as well as a reduced capacity limit in order to make social distancing more feasible in our fairly cramped store. In order to both make sure every customer is wearing a mask and that we can keep up with how many customers there are at any given time so we don't go over capacity, we have a chain up at the only entrance and exit, so people have to be let in. So, not too long after my bud goes his lunch, a family of 3 comes to the gate. The parents aren't really dressed in any particularly interesting way, and their maybe 13-year-old daughter wasn't either. Just a graphic tee and jeans, but her hair was a dyed light green. A little while after that, 2 older guys, maybe in their 40s, come up without masks. I explain that they are required and offer to give them disposable ones if they don't have any on them, and they begrudgingly put them on. A few minutes later, I noticed that they both had them under their nose. We have to tell people to pull it above their nose when we see that, and we literally tell people at the gate that we have to do that, so they can't claim ignorance. audience, but they somehow still got annoyed. I'm not too easily intimidated by anti-maskers at this point in the pandemic, but these guys were giving off a pretty bad vibe. They were just kinda aggressive in their responses, but they never did or said anything beyond
Whatever, or that's stupid, but okay.
It wasn't like I could refuse them service over a vibe after they agreed to follow our policy, so I shrugged it off. After like 5 to 6 minutes of no customers coming up to the gate, I decided to start working on shipment that had just come in, which was in the very back area of the store, but not in the stockroom. So I could do that and still keep an eye on things every 2 minutes or so. Basically, all I was doing was ripping tape off boxes, removing the contents, and sorting them so they could be more easily put out in the floor, so I was making a good amount of noise. At one point, when I had looked back to check on things, I noticed that the middle school age girl was by herself, so I figured that her parents ducked under the chain to let her shop while they did something else. That happens pretty often, so I didn't think much of it. I was still keeping an eye on things, so I figured it would be fine, and I went back to what I was doing. A few minutes later, I hear one of the anti-maskers from before say, "Excuse me," from right behind me. I turn around and he is way too close to me and clearly annoyed. I asked him how I could help him, and he points over at the register and says,
Your associate is refusing to check me out.
I was confused at first, and I just asked him to clarify.
I mean, she is refusing to give me service. I asked her thrice to check me out and she just ignored me.
Then I realized he meant the kid with the colored hair. He must have seen the colored hair and just assumed that she worked here based on that, despite the fact that she was very clearly a child. I tell the guy that she doesn't work here and that I'm the only one in the store at the moment. He doesn't seem to believe me and goes off about how we were conspiring to refuse him service, and that he could sue for discrimination and have us held personally responsible. Typical anti-masker BS. At this point, I tried to check him out myself just to get him and his creepy friend out of the store, but he just tosses the socks that he probably didn't even want to begin with on the counter and walks out of the store, ducking under the chain. When they were gone, I apologized to the kid and made sure she was alright. Her parents must have heard how loud the guy was being and came back into the store not too long after they left to check on her, and I explained what happened and they left shortly after too. I gotta hand it to Modelo for really bringing out the stupid in people. No, it's just the people bringing the stupid out of themselves. They're gonna be stupid regardless. Alright, this story's called I Don't Work Here, I Work Above Here. Also, I don't go to your church. I work headquarters level at a major hotel company. I don't need to name them, but it's the one that is commonly believed to be owned by the Latter-day Saints Church. We're not, but I understand why people believe that myth. One of the perks of my job is that I get to stay at most of our hotels worldwide at a super low rate. Pretty much break-even pricing from the hotel's perspective. I was on vacation and staying at one of our hotels under my discount when this happened. At check-in, I was having my typical conversation with the desk agent, where I told them my role in the company and handed over the authorization form that confirmed my access to the discount. Got checked in, all well and good. Unbeknownst to me, another customer was in the lobby and overheard that conversation. He found me later that evening in the hotel restaurant and decided he wanted to file a complaint about his particular stay. He'd gotten nowhere to his satisfaction with the hotel staff, and he thought that as an HQ employee, I would outrank the general manager and be able to get a resolution. I don't and couldn't. It's outside of my job responsibilities, so I directed him back to the hotel staff for his further conversations. Man, he didn't like that. He started to raise his voice and shout a bit before he looked down at my table and saw the glass of beer sitting beside my plate. That's when I learned this guy is Mormon, and he thought that any headquarters employee of this company would have to be Mormon too, because he believed the Mormon-owned myth. Mormons, I'm told, are not allowed to drink alcohol. Oh man, did he get hot. Shouting even louder, not even letting me tell him that I'm not Mormon, and still couldn't help him. He threatened to contact my stake president and have my temple recommend revoked, which would have been serious threats if I actually was Mormon, but made no difference in my case. That's when a hotel employee came up behind him to defend defuse the situation. His name tag identified him as the general manager of the hotel, a person I learned this guy hadn't met yet. He also had a brown complexion and an Arabic name printed on his name tag. Mormon guy stops, pays really close attention to the guy's name tag and his face, and storms off yelling about
Muslims in charge!
I saw him leaving the building 10 minutes later with his luggage. Apparently he had too much. Plot twist, talking to the general manager about the experience over the next few minutes, I discovered he was actually a Lebanese Christian. Score one for stereotypes, I guess. I wonder what hotel chain they're talking about, because I've never heard of a hotel chain that's run by Mormons only or something, whatever the myth is. But yeah, that whole temple threat, that's dirty, because I know some Mormon people, and I know that temple is a big deal, and I'm pretty sure, like, the main goal is to get married at the temple, or a temple, if there's more than one. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not versed in my Mormon lore, in my Lorman. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.